What's up, guys, and welcome. It's InfernoKun here with another Walking Dead Season 2 DLC discussion. I have my co-host here, Dekon.
Hi, I'm glad to be here, Mr. InfernoKun.
Don't do that.
Thank
You're
you
not
for
even
having
co-host. I fire you. Anyway, we are talking about DLC, which is probably going to be happening very soon from what Job and Skybound have been tweeting out and saying in their latest panel.
There will be a third season of Walking Dead at some point. It's not necessarily something you can expect to see super soon, but I think you can perhaps maybe expect to see Walking Dead again sooner, if that makes sense.
So I'm gonna share my ideas, then he's gonna share his ideas of what we want in this DLC, or what we think we should happen. So I did make another video, kind of a two-ish videos about DLC, but it's just kind of a different idea, different approach. Not really, but they'll be linked in the description and on the screen, so you can go ahead and check those out. So let's go ahead and present my ideas. Now, many of you probably know that I loved the 400 Days characters, and I want them to come back in Season 3, as well as probably even the Season 2 DLC similar to 400 Days, where you play as these characters. Now, since it's kind of different because we have all these characters, you play as all of them, it can't really happen in, you know, a DLC like this because they're all together based on your choices in the first one. So what do you think of the DLC characters or 400 Days characters, Dekon?
I feel like they might pop up in the DLC. We talked about this earlier, but it would be a kind of dumb thing to do because Telltale already said they'll be in Season 2 in the episode In Harm's Way, and we saw a glimpse of them. So, you know, but they could have them in there, you know, but I feel like they shouldn't have the main focus on them, like we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
But I'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
So I think we should have a little glimpse of them to satisfy the, how do I say it? So Telltale can make up for what they said earlier, you know.
Yes.
It'll be too bad for the people that don't play the Season 2 DLC. But hey, what are you gonna do?
I mean, like, I want, like, for this DLC, I kind of want it to be, you know, like, not huge choices that will, like, affect Season 3 in a big way. Probably just small choices that affect the characters in general in that DLC. And, like, we explained, you know, how I wanted, like, it explains the story of what happened to, you know, the people that were in House Hardware. What happens to
how
them.
they handled that after.
What happens after that, because in episode 4, whenever they were shooting down walkers, probably escaped that way. So hopefully they come back. I really want them to. I love the characters. They were all very interesting. They weren't douchebags. They were likable characters. You know, Vince was pretty cool, Shale was awesome, and all the others, they were really cool. So also we had talk about, you know, Eddie and Nate could possibly come into that because
they weren't in-house.
Yes, but
so it would, you know, maybe we'll see a glimpse of them outside house, you know, what they're doing with their lives.
Yeah, because we know Telltale probably had plans to add at least Eddie into episode 4 of Season 2, but they scratched that for some unknown reason because Telltale is just wonkers right now.
Amid the Ruins guy comes in and be like, hey, we gotta kill off the cast, forget about 400 Days, Eddie, boom, death to everybody.
Yeah,
Kinda
so
like that.
I was at least hoping Telltale actually, like, I know they were pretty wrong for saying that the 400 Days characters would come back into Season 2 and actually matter, which they kind of came back, but it didn't really matter. It's
Just like a glimpse.
Yeah, glimpse of them, cameo of them, and that's pretty much it. But, you know,
just how they tease Danny, and then they intensely screw with us. Oh well.
Yeah, so
And
hopefully they learn from their mistakes, you know. Hopefully they don't rush the storyline of DLC or something like
Yeah.
that. This one, and be like, hey, season 2 will add the characters here, then we'll scratch this out and do this and this and this, because they rushed way too fast in season 2. They could have just slowed down and had the characters show up how they wanted to. So, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. That's
So,
good.
let's go ahead. You present your DLC idea.
Now, I said about, I talked about them, the 400 Days characters, not being the main focus. And earlier we talked about how Walking Dead Season 2 built up, it relied a lot on nostalgia. It relied on nostalgia. It would have been not so great of a game if it didn't rely on nostalgia. If you didn't have these moments where you remember Lee and Kenny, especially. Kenny was this security, because I mean, who wasn't happy when Kenny returned and you get that hugging scene? Everybody was happy at that point.
Pretty much.
You even was, and like, so there's no, maybe some people were like, oh no, he's here, but say Telltale had Kenny. I feel they had Kenny in season 2 to have this security thing, because in season 2 they didn't have a clear objective. In season 1 we're Lee, we're protecting Clem. That's the main focus. Season 2 was all over the place. It was like Carver, oh, you're with this cabin group. It wasn't, and then it turned into Wellington, at the end. But we didn't really have a, clear objective in the beginning, like season 1.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's why, they had Kenny in there. And they had these moments where you would remember Lee, like in Parker's Run, where you go in that museum thing, and then Clem's like, oh, Lee would have loved this. And then the Lee flashback, the dream.
Yes.
So I feel like they would have Christa in there as a season 3 nostalgia thing. Because you've seen Playing Dead, right? Where they talk about that.
Yeah.
How Christa's ending hasn't really tied up, and it's like real life.
Yes,
and they kind of say, gotta leave room for season 3.
Just out there.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
So I feel like the DLC would be her. We would play as her. That's what I think. That's the most. I think that would happen, actually. Who knows? Yeah, probably your ideas, right?
Yeah, because like most people, mostly on the forums, people were like, they wish Kenny never came back because he took the whole spotlight from the characters in season 2. You were more focused on Kenny and him coming back more than the Luke and Sarah and all of them.
Season 2 would have been real. Oh my days, fam! I wouldn't have liked it if Kenny wasn't there as the security thing, because you talked about your frustration with, they're focusing on Kenny and they're not focusing on developing new characters, which they didn't really do a good job in the first place. With Sarah, with Nick, with Alvin. And what if Kenny wasn't there? I feel like they still would have done a bad job on developing characters. Because Sarah, that choice where you teach her to shoot a gun.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so good if that would, come in handy. Come in handy in Amid the Ruins. She survives the gunfight. And then, Clem's like, hey, remember, I told you it's not a toy, aim for the head, stuff like that. Time to do that shit.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. So,
I guess it kind of depends on what people think, because, just me personally, I felt like Kenny was definitely, he has reasons to be there. Telltale actually brought him back. And he brought back nostalgia and everything else and made it feel great. By the time we were in episode 3, it kind of focused, more on Kenny. And then in episode 4, it focused a lot more on Kenny. And it kind of drove away from, Luke and all of them, Carlos and all of them, pretty much. Yeah. You kind of like how they hit off Alvin, and then stuff like that, and killed off Nick.
They used Kenny to hide that. They used nostalgia to hide their laziness, so to say.
Yeah, so him talking to everybody while Nick's off in the background doing nothing. Alvin's in Carver's office, and they were kind of just out there in the background. They were more like background characters, while Kenny was a main character in a way.
That would not have happened in season 1.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, they developed Wolf Among Us. I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It's the most logical thing to do if they're making, 2 games at a time. If they were to develop Nick, Alvin, and everybody else, it would take a lot more time. Why just not have one character to, focus on? Like Kenny Nostalgia. To kind of hide that they couldn't... It was too much for them to handle. That's how I see it.
That's a great tactic for, like, not for an entire season, but like for the episode. Yeah. Like how episode 4 you were with Jane, you were hanging out with her and stuff like that. That's great, but to focus an entire season blacking out all these other characters, that's not really good.
It's not good.
It's not good.
It's not good, but it's most likely to happen because now you have all these projects at the same time. I mean,
yeah.
It sucks, really, but oh well.
So if Christa were to meet up with Clementine again, I'm not really sure if Telltale will repeat the same thing, having Christa just like I feel like she wouldn't really be the same way Kenny is. She's more of a laid back person. She's more of a, she's not gonna be like arguing with everybody.
People wouldn't care so much for her as they did with Kenny, and it wouldn't be so much drama to the plot, but it would still be how I feel it, like a nostalgia security thing.
Yeah,
like they're like, so if they have a big group, if they have all the 400 Days characters there, maybe they'll do like a small glimpse of them, and Christa will take the focus, like in Harm's Way.
It's kind of
I wish they would take more time with their episodes.
It was having Christa back would be kind of good, because I mean, who else but Kenny, if you did not kill him, who else would you have to reminisce about all the past stuff and Lee and all that stuff? Having Christa back would be definitely good, because you already spent those 16 months surviving with her in general. So
maybe they'll make Christa linear and not determine at all, if they were to have her. But that's most likely to happen, I think so.
Yeah, so
it's it's like like I said before, our theories breed with each other, and the baby is 400 Days characters, glimpse of them.
Yes, it would be a masterpiece if the 400 Days group met up with Christa. I would be so happy. I'd be so satisfied and
it would satisfy.
Happy. Then season 3, we have probably 400 Days group as your main group with Christa there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, and then you wouldn't really need season 2 either. I mean, the season 2 DLC either to make sense of season 3.
Yeah,
season 3 could be like, oh, you meet up with them, but season 2 is like their journey there. I don't know.
Yeah,
if that makes any sense.
The DLC should definitely be an optional thing for if you want to. Don't like force it on people. Be like, hey, if you don't play this, then you miss out on some key story features and you won't understand stuff like that. So hopefully they don't do that. They might mess up if they do that. So so is that all you want to say about that?
Yeah, we got our shit. We come to an agreement, son.
Okay, so what we kind of came together to think about the release date, it was probably, for me and him, we're thinking probably this summer. Probably like May, June, or July, or something like that. The DLC could come out.
Cause patterns
are great. Yeah. So hopefully, by Telltale saying soon, it means probably summer. That would be great. I would love to see some more Walking Dead by the summer, when we're all out having fun, waiting for more Walking Dead. But anyways, thank you guys for watching. This has been InfernoKun and Dekon with a group discussion.
Yeah!
Be sure to like and subscribe for more. Tell me your thoughts about any DLC ideas you guys have. You can go ahead and comment down any ideas. I love seeing your ideas and everything else. Y'all have some crazy DLC ideas, so hopefully Telltale actually brings something that can actually be awesome. So thank you guys for watching, and I'm out.